3. Giving you the real from A to Z surrounding the Dallas Cowboys. News, updates, rumors, transactions, takes, and more. So strap up, Cowboys Nation, and start your day off with A to Z Sports. Live with Will Steele. 3, 2, 1.
Here we go. We back. Good morning, good people. Welcome to A to Z Sports Live, presented by Texas Family Fitness, Freeman Mazda Hade, and Worth the Poor. I am your host, Will Skywalker Steele. And I got to come in like this today. Ayo. I got to come in like this, and you'll know in a second. But coming up today, what a weekend. What a weekend. Tom Brady returns out of nowhere. Thank you, Tom Brady. Cowboys cut a ton of players. Amari Cooper, traded for a cash-only vending machine. And then Michael Gallup returns on a pretty big deal. So we'll get into all of that. All of that. I promise you we will. But before I do that, Cowboys Nation, y'all know I love me some WWE. And I know this is Cowboys show, and we'll get to that in a second. But for those that were wondering why I came in the way I came in, let me show you. This is why I came in the way I came in, Cowboys Nation. Man, it's a sad day right now. Scott Hall, a.k.a. Razor Ramon, is not feeling too well right now. And he is on life support, and it looks like he will be pulled off of life support. And one of my favorite wrestlers growing up. Hey, yo. Rest in peace to the bad guy. I don't care, YouTube. I got to let my guy play out. I just had to get that one out, Cowboys Nation. It's a sad day in the wrestling community. I know you're probably don't give a damn about wrestling. But Scott Hall, good dude. And if you go actually look at his story is very inspiring. You know, he had a downward spiral in his life, but he fought back, came back, and he defeated his depression, his addiction, and things like that. But he had 3 heart attacks over the weekend, so now, he may be coming to an end, unfortunately. So rest in peace to Scott Hall, and prayers up to him and his family. All right? Prayers up to him and his family. With that said, Cowboys Nation, wow. You know that meme, speaking of WWF, Vince McMahon shocked and then gets more shocked and falls out of his chair. That was kind of the reaction throughout the weekend as Friday, then Saturday, then Sunday got here. And you went from the Cooper trade to the Michael Gallup signing, and then Tom Brady returns. And it's just one thing after another. And really the entire week was chaotic in that way when you look at the trades from Khalil Mack and Russell Wilson, and the signings of Mike Williams, and et cetera, Carson Wentz. Explosive first week leading up to what is this week, free agency. All right? Free agency starts this week. I believe the 2-day tampering period begins today, and then the 16th is the full-on free agency period that begins the league year. With that said, though, teams have already began to sign their guys, a.k.a. Michael Gallup. We'll get to that contract in a little bit. Tom Brady returns. He brings back his center. So there's just a whole lot going on. We'll try to keep you guys up to date with it. But before we get into all of that, y'all know I will give my opinion on this Amari Cooper. A lot of people wanted me to just shut up and keep it moving. First of all, I don't do a show on the weekend. So, no, you're going to get my opinion on it today, this morning. So stick around. You see the title, it says the truth behind the Amari Cooper trade. I think we pretty much know the truth of why they did it, right? But there are a lot of people that seem to be falling in line with the compensation, which to me is wild. I'm going to show you exactly why they're wrong and the truth behind why they could have gotten more and why they didn't. And it ain't got nothing to do with Amari Cooper. All right, let's get into this roundup because I got a lot to say today, and I want to hear what you guys got to say, so make sure y'all do call in later on, 351-999-3787, 351-999-3787. Let's go.
Look at them, it's about that time.
It's time! It's time! It's time!
It's time! It's time!
It is time for...
It's time for the morning roundup. Round 'em up, boys.
Yes, indeed. The morning roundup presented by Texas Family Fitness. Strive for progress, not perfection. Fitness goals not accomplished with one workout. Progress towards your goals with Texas Family Fitness. And hey, if you're in the DFW area or the North Dallas area, they just renovated their Texas Family Fitness. It looks amazing. That is a great facility. I highly recommend you guys check it out if you're looking to begin your fitness journey. Again, there are 9 different locations in the DFW area, so you can check those out or visit TexasFamilyFitness.com. There's a lot that went on over the weekend. Right after the show, I talked about it on Friday. I said, usually we end these shows early and a lot happens after. Well, that same day, we find out a ton of players got cut or released, starting with one Greg the Leg. Finally, finally, they did the right thing. I tweeted on Twitter, you seen Bad Boys, right? For now on, that's how you drive. That's how I feel about the Cowboys. Made a good move. They cut Greg Zuerlein. They saved $2.25 million in cap space. Greg Zuerlein over the last 2 years in Dallas, 5 for 14 from 50 yards out. For a guy named Greg the Leg, 5 for 14 is putrid. He missed 9 extra points in his 2 seasons, including 6 last year. And we talked about how the Cowboys pretty much lost about 2 or 3 games, if you really want to think about it, on the back of his misses. So see you, Greg. Wouldn't want to be you. Also cut was Blake Jarwin. He was more so waived/injured waived. And here's the details on that. The move qualifies as waived/injured designation. The Cowboys can save roughly $3.8 million in cap space while carrying a charge of only 2. But by being waived/injured, Jarwin qualifies for an injury settlement with the team, which will allow him to recoup some of the earnings. So they won't see the entire $3.8 million in cap space. Nonetheless, they'll get a few dollars. It is what it is. Or I should say.
It is what it is. It is what it is.
Also cut by the Cowboys, defensive back Reggie Robinson. 5th round pick who did nothing with this team, right? That's the second 5th round pick the Cowboys got nothing out of. The other one was Bradley and Nye. And then Ito Smith was also waived and a few others that, no offense to these guys, but didn't really matter to the team. So Dallas is shedding some of the weight at the bottom of their roster to create more cap space. That cap space, obviously, went to one Michael Gallup. Michael Gallup finally finalized his long-term deal. These next 2 things are things that we figured were coming down the pipe, right? We figured Gallup was going to get the deal. PFF had it as a 4-year deal. I said, no, they like 5 years, and then it was reported 5 years, and now that's what we have. 5 years, $62.5 million, $27 million guaranteed, and a reported $10 million signing bonus. All of that likely makes his 2022 cap hit pretty small, very manageable, if you count the guaranteed number and the signing bonus, etc. To me, and to a lot of people, it looks like a 2-year let's see type of deal, much like they did with Amari Cooper. They can probably get out of it after 2 years. If they like what they're seeing, they continue to go with it for the full 3, 4, 5 years. We'll dive into more details later on about the deal, in my opinion on it, and we'll get your opinion on it as well. Right now, I'm fine. We figured this was coming down anyway. So again, we try to prepare everyone for these type of things. the shock and awe of that deal doesn't really do it for me. However, Mark Cooper traded to the Cleveland Browns for a bag of brown shit. No, for a bag of 5th round picks. I say 5th round picks, but it's 1 5th round pick and a swap of a 6th round pick. Now, the trade does not shock me. Nothing about it really shocks me because, again, we prepared for this. The Cowboys prepared to get out of his contract when they signed him to his 5-year quote-unquote deal. But the compensation, make no mistake about it, Cowboys Nation, flat out bad. Point blank, period. Okay, they got whooped in the trade market again. They did. And there are a lot of fans, it seems like half this fan base after I saw this trade go down, we're just like, oh, well, you know, that's fine. That's all we can do. No, not really. And yeah, we can sit here and we can talk about the way they treated him in the media over the last few weeks. Cool. That likely had something to do with it, sure. You know, a little bit. Not a whole lot. I'm not going to say that's the end all be all. Well, you only got a 5th because you sullied his name in the media. Man, a little bit. That has something to do with it. Not too much. But flat out, your organization is just not good in that market.
It is what it is. It is what it is.
And a lot of people don't want to hear that. They don't want to believe that because they've been conditioned to. I started to get to thinking out as I was watching social media go on fire, more so Cowboys Nation. I think a lot of other fans respect Coop. But I started to think, what is really going on with the Cowboys fans and Cowboys Nation in regards to the front office? Because you would think this would kind of be a unified type of fort. It's really not. It's really not. And I got to thinking, have you guys ever heard the term classical conditioning? We kind of talk about it without saying that on the show. Have you guys ever heard of the Pavlov experiment, which is about classical conditioning? Have you guys ever seen The Office? Let me read what the Pavlov experiment was so we can build this thing up here. The most famous example of the Pavlov experiment, classical conditioning, was with dogs. They salivated in response to a bell. When Pavlov showed that when a bell was sounded each time the dog was fed, the dog learned to associate the sound with the presentation of the food. Okay, and this was done as a joke on The Office. So what would happen is Jim sits in front of Dwight. That's Dwight with the glasses. Jim is handing out an Altoid. Jim would play this sound right here and say, "Hey, Dwight, would you like an Altoid?" Dwight would say, "Yeah, here, give it to me." Next day, Jim would play this sound. "Dwight, would you like an Altoid?" "Yes." Again, "Would you like an Altoid?" And again, and again, and again. Until one day he played the sound. Jim didn't ask him, and Dwight puts his hand out because he's been classically trained over weeks and weeks of time to associate that sound with an Altoid. And then to boot with the joke, he said, "Why is my breath tasting like an Altoid?" Because your brain is trained to believe that this is what needs to happen at this time. And that's what I believe Stephen Jones has done to Cowboys Nation. He has classically trained all of us, really. It's not just a half of the fan base, but all of us to believe this is how you do things. Keep saying cap matters, salary cap. You believe to think that. So when moves are made, we got to do it, man, because cap. That's what he said. And make no mistake about it, most fans don't look outside the organization. And that's fair. That's okay. That's normal fandom. There's a sector of fan bases that kind of pay attention to the rest of the league. There's no problem in that. So you begin to think this is how it's done. And we repeat the cycle over and over, and you're like, well, what the hell is the problem? You're missing the problem because you've been classically trained to hit cap, got to cut this person. Cap, got to move this person. Now, in regards to this trade, I've seen a lot of people say, oh, man, this is okay. This is all we could get, because you hear this man, right? He doesn't come out and he doesn't say, we want to keep Amari Cooper as much as we can. We have no intentions. Lie to us. Lie to them. We have no intentions. Make it harder. The problem is you're just not good in that arena.
It is what it is. It is what it is.
I went back and did research, because a lot of people are going to say, well, nobody wants to take on Amari Cooper in his contract. No, he gets hurt. He plays. Okay, number one, he plays. We are acting like Amari Cooper is Terrell Owens out in the driveway doing sit-ups, dividing locker rooms, talking down on his quarterback. But he's not. And you could have gotten more. And I'm going to show you some examples of why you could have gotten more, and why the Dallas Cowboys in general just suck at this. It's okay to say it. Not everybody is good in every facet of team building, right? You have the draft, you have free agency, and you have trades. The Cowboys suck in free agency and trades. That is okay to admit. The sooner you admit that they suck at this, the sooner you'll come to grips that this is why. And you won't get all caught up. You won't get all crazy about it. But you'll also come to terms with the truth. And the truth of the matter is they could have got more. They always could get more. But they decide to hang on to players as opposed to trading them. And then when they do trade them, this is what you get. These are the players that have been traded away since 2000 for the Dallas Cowboys. This is just an arena they do not execute well in. I asked a question last week. When's the last time the Dallas Cowboys got a good haul for a player in a trade? Since Herschel Walker. And I should have used Steve Walsh. I shouldn't have used Herschel Walker. I should have used Steve Walsh. They got a first, second, and third for Steve Walsh. No one can give me an answer. So I went back and looked. They haven't, Cowboys Nation. These are the trades since 2000 for players. Everson Griffin for a 6th-round pick. Travarius Ward for the offensive lineman from Kansas City. I don't know how to say his last name. Travarius Ward ended up being a starting cornerback, by the way. Ryan Switzer for Jihad Ward. That was nothing. Jihad Ward ended up getting cut and went on to play pretty decent for the Colts. Bobby Carpenter for Alex Barron. Oh, boy. Alex Barron was terrible. Dante Rosario, 7th round. Sean Lissamore, 7th round. Anthony Henry for John Kitna. And Joey Galloway for Keyshawn Johnson. You got what you got because your team doesn't know how to operate in that arena. They don't know how to operate in that arena. Now, you're going to get fans that say, well, Amari Cooper is banged up guy, or Amari Cooper is not that good. Really? Amari Cooper is top 10 in the stats that matter since being with the Dallas Cowboys. Since when does a top 10 wide receiver net a 5th-round pick or worse? Watch myself. That don't happen. I promise you, over the last 4, 5, 6 years, it doesn't happen. Hell, a 31-year-old defensive end who just broke his foot got traded for a 2nd-round pick. And if you think I'm lying, let's visit some of the top-tier wide receivers that have been traded over the last 4 years in the NFL. And you'll see exactly what I mean. But before we do that, Cowboys Nation, let me talk to you about this week's ride of the week, which get out of there, Jim. This week's ride of the week, which is the 2022 Mazda CX-50. Enjoy a connection to the road even when there isn't one with our newest iActive technology, a standard feature on all trim levels of the CX-50. It's also equipped with Mazda Intelligent Drive Select, which includes drive modes which enhance off-road and sport driving. Turbo models also include a mode designed to support towing, so you can stay effortlessly immersed in the moment in almost every driving scenario or road condition. This week's ride of the week, 2022 Mazda CX-50, brand new, hasn't even dropped yet. Check out freemanmazda.net for more information. All right, let's take a look at some of these guys that have been traded over the last 4 years. Okay, I'm going to start with Odell Beckham. In 2019, Odell Beckham netted you a first and a third round pick for the New York Giants. At the time of that trade, Odell Beckham had the highest salary average per year in the entire NFL. At the time of that trade, Odell Beckham tore his ACL the year before. He missed 16 games in a 2-year span. We know he was a huge diva, and he had a fight with a kicking net. But they got a first and a third round pick, and they also shed another big contract in Olivier Vernon. You say, well, Odell Beckham's a one-off. Okay. Julio Jones was traded for a second and a fourth round pick. At the time of the trade, he was second in average per year in regards to his salary. Julio Jones missed 7 games a year prior to his trade, and we all know Julio Jones was hurt guy. In the last 3 seasons, Amari Cooper has more catches, more yards, and more touchdowns than Julio Jones. And an offense that does not feature Amari Cooper like it featured Julio Jones. But they got a second and a fourth round pick. All right. You might say, well, those are the top 2, 3, whatever. Okay. Stephon Diggs. Now, before you start rattling off Stephon Diggs' numbers in Buffalo, go look at his numbers in Minnesota. He didn't get 1,000 yards until his 4th year in the league. He also was an issue in that locker room at the end of his tenure in Minnesota. He signed a 5-year, $72 million deal and was almost said something else. He was traded for a first, a fourth, a fifth, and a 6th round pick. And then one Antonio freaking Brown. I mean, do I need to say any more about Antonio Brown? Maybe the ultimate wild card, the ultimate risk, number 2 in APY at the time of the trade, and he still netted you a 3rd and a 5th round pick. So when fans try to tell you, when writers try to tell you, you can't move a wide receiver with big money and baggage, I present to you wide receivers with big money and baggage. Well, Sky, those are top 10 guys. And so is Amar. Those are top 10 guys. Okay. All right. Let's take a look at some guys who weren't top 10 guys over the last 4 years that got traded for better compensation than Amari Cooper. Brandon Cooks, one of my favorite wide receivers in the league. For whatever reason, this man continues to get bounced around. He was traded 3 separate times. A first and a third. A first and a 6th. And a 2nd round pick. The last 2 were after he got traded and he was top 10 in APY. Mohamed freaking Sanu. No, Mohamed Sanu got traded for a 2nd round pick. Okay? Do I need to say more? Emmanuel Sanders went from the Broncos, a 30-year-old plus wide receiver who's been a mid guy to the Niners, got traded for a 3rd and 4th round pick. Martavis freaking Bryant traded for a 3rd round pick from the Steelers to the Raiders. But because we've been classically trained to think a fifth rounder is okay, it's all we could get. It's okay. It's not okay. The problem is not trading Amari Cooper, right? We came to grips with that. The problem is the compensation. The problem is people don't respect Stephen Jones in that arena. I just showed you 8 different instances where wide receivers either A on the tier, a little bit above the tier, or way below the tier got much better compensation than a 5th round pick. Now, are the Cowboys going to be okay in regards to having CeeDee Lamb and having Michael Gallup potentially drafting the guy? Sure. We'll talk about all that stuff. But remember, I didn't get a chance to say my piece. So this is my piece on the situation. Bottom line, yes, your Cowboys got in the trade department again. Because they don't know how to operate there. Because they don't have a true general manager to do those things. Let me ask y'all a question. Do you think Les Snead would have got a 5th round pick for Amari Cooper? I digress.
It is what it is.
It is what it is.
All right, man, we got 972 on the horn. Let's hear what you guys got to say. 351-999-3787. What's up, 972? How you doing?
Hey, I'm doing good, man. This is my first time calling you, Scott. I've been a fan of you for, I think it's going on about 2 years.
Thank you.
Was it since the late night hype?
Yeah, late night hype, man. Yep, that was last year.
Yes, sir.
Actually, 2 years ago.
I just wanted to show you support, man, and just that you're doing your thing. And I just wanted to ask you your opinion on what do you think about CeeDee Lamb? I actually think he's a dog, and he's the next number one coming up, the wide receiver number one. And if you just look at the stats, he done had 2 back-to-back 1,000-yard seasons. Plus, if you look at his weight, right now he's at 170. I heard Drew Preston say on 105.3 The Fan that CeeDee Lamb just got to pick up some more weight so he can be able to take all those hits. So I'm believing in CeeDee Lamb right now. I think that's what I think the front office is doing, is believing that CeeDee Lamb is ready to take the next step.
Oh, absolutely they are. You know, when they drafted him, me and Big Game James, we used to have a podcast called I forget what it was. We did it for like 2 months, but it was I forget. I have to hit up Big Game James, and it's not the late night hype. It was just me and him. We immediately said, Amari Cooper may be on the clock as wide receiver 1. So again, that part of it's not a shocker. Right? Like, we knew that CeeDee Lamb was drafted to be number 1. They gave him 88. He was going to be a number 1 wide receiver. I believe in his talent. I think he can do it. I'm not down. A lot of people in Cowboys Nation are actually down on CeeDee Lamb. I think CeeDee Lamb will be fine if he is given the opportunities, because I believe Amari Cooper would have been that dude if he was given the opportunities. And people forget Coop had 92 receptions, 1,100 yards with 4 quarterbacks the previous year. So they act like this dude can't get it done. But that's another discussion for another time. I'm big on CeeDee Lamb. I think he'll come in and he'll be fine. It's not CD I worry about. It's the rest. When is Gallup returning? Will Gallup have any lingering effects? We haven't really seen him be in that featured role. Who's going to be the 3rd wide receiver? It's more or less what happens after CeeDee Lamb.
Right. Well, if we could compare a 90s receiver to Amari Cooper, who would you compare him to?
A 90s receiver. Ooh, you're gonna make me have to do some research. A 90s wide receiver to Amari Cooper. Non-Cowboys wide receiver?
Non-Cowboys, yes, sir.
Man, it's tough. I don't know. I'd have to really think about that because I don't want to just throw out a name. I want to give you a good one. I have to come back to you on that. Okay. I was thinking Terry Glenn at first, but I would say Terry Glenn in Dallas more so than Terry Glenn with the Patriots, because Terry Glenn was a speedster there.
Yes, sir.
But I'd have to go
well,
do some research.
Okay, when I think of Amari Cooper, I think of the old Chris Carter from Minnesota that could run routes.
Damn, Chris, one of the greatest of all time. I thought you were trying to listen. I love Coop, but I ain't ready to go there just yet. I was ignoring the greats.
Amari Cooper could be one of the greatest of all time, but the only thing that's hurting him is that he's injury prone.
But see,
he gets hurt he gets nagged up with these injuries, and I think that's what they're kind of looking at too. It's like, man, every time we see you, you're living, you're hurt.
But
he can put up Chris Carter numbers, but he's always hurt. He's always all these injuries. And okay, I keep hearing people. I heard Boss Cowboy tell fans off of Law Nation's channel that Coop got took out versus the Eagle game. Was that 2 years ago, correct?
2019, yeah.
Okay, so if Coop got took out that game and he went out, but how come when I'm watching last year's game, Green Bay versus Arizona, I'm seeing D. Hopkins put himself in the game when they told him he couldn't play?
Yeah.
Where's that dog in you where they tell you come out, you stay in? I see Zeke all the time go back in and tell him, hey, man, come on out. Come on, now.
Listen, if you want to hold that game against Amari Cooper, if he took himself out or what have you, I'm not going to argue that with you if he really did that. I don't know the full details of that, so I'm not going to speculate. But what I do know is in his tenure here, he's been a top 10 wide receiver. What I do know is when he played with 4 different quarterbacks, he balled out. What I do know is when you target Amari Cooper, he produces like a top wide receiver. When he gets targeted 8+ times in a game, he averages 7 receptions, 93 yards, and he had 12 touchdowns in those games. And that was only 21 times in Dallas. Okay? The 4 games he was targeted 8+ times last year.
Versus who?
I have to go look at the games. The 3 games he was
targeted. We played the Giants.
Listen.
We played Washington. We played the Eagles, right?
Sure, but 21. We don't play them 21. We don't play them 21 times in 3 years, though. You know what I'm saying?
I hear you.
So let me tell you about the other ones. 4 games last year, he was targeted 8+ times in a game. He had 13 receptions, like $130 and 2 touchdowns. He had 8 receptions, 122 yards and a touchdown. He had 6 receptions. Let me pull it up for you, like 85 yards and a touchdown, and 5 receptions and 55 yards and no touchdown. You know what that tells me? Maybe I should target Amari Cooper more.
So we said Dak's not throwing the ball to the person who's open?
He's not throwing it to Amari Cooper. He's not featuring him enough. And the game plan is not featuring Amari Cooper enough either. Make no mistake about it. Kellen Moore and Dak Prescott have to do a better job of getting Amari Cooper the rock. It's that simple. Well, they had to. He's not here anymore. But at that time, he had to.
Okay.
I'm just rebutting to what you said. I mean, if you want to argue, you don't like Amari Cooper's demeanor.
I'm just saying that I just felt like he was just an injury receiver for him to be that dog. I seen it some games I didn't see it. Some games he didn't show up. He played Gilmore and went out. When I seen him play with the Patriots, was that 2 years ago?
Why are we talking about?
I'm just saying, he's just not a dog.
Fam,
he's not that dog.
Who gives a shit if he's not a dog? I don't need 22 dogs on my team.
But you pay $20 million. Is he better than Cooper Kupp? Is he better than you're paying him?
Yeah. If he was targeted like a Cooper Kupp,
getting top 5 pay, and he's not performing.
Okay, so you one of those fans. Player. Okay. Let me ask you a question, sir. Can Amari Cooper throw himself the ball?
No.
Can Amari Cooper game plan himself the game plan? So how am I supposed to, let's say you're at a job, right? And your owner comes down and gives you a raise and says, this is what I need you to do to continue to get this amount of money. And then the owner of your job then hires somebody that doesn't allow you to do your job at the highest level. And then your owner comes to you and says, you know what? You're not doing what I said. Thus, I got to get rid of you. Wouldn't you say, well, wait a minute. The person you put above me is not allowing me to do that. Well, I don't care. We're getting rid of you. That would be unjust. Context matters, sir. And I'm just providing context. Getting rid of Amari, whatever. I am upset with the compensation. But when Amari is featured, Amari gets busy. It is It is really that simple.
So with Jerry saying that, okay, look, we got to win this Super Bowl by any means, right? Any means necessary, Malcolm X. You don't think that Jerry told them, I need to win, do everything possibilities to get me to win this championship? You think they just said, okay, we're going to do that, and we're going to not feature Amari Cooper?
Did you hear what Steven told everybody? Did you hear what your coach, your offensive coordinator, told everybody? Did you hear what your wide receiver, Simi Fehoko, told everybody? Did you hear what Amari Cooper said? All these people have come out and said the system dictates. The system is not designed to go to a featured player. This isn't new. I'm not making this up. Your Stephen Jones came out and said, hey, Stephen, why did Mari not get targeted the way he did? Well, see, the system, Clarence, we don't have a system that goes to the guys. The system is about progression. So if they dictate coverage that way, we go elsewhere. Kellen Moore, Amari Cooper came out and said he would love to be involved in third down and in the red zone. Kellen Moore says, we would love to get Amari Cooper involved, but we're really not in the business of, focusing on one wide receiver. Simi Fehoko comes out on the media and says, hey, man, when I was in college, we did this and that. I get to the pros. It's not really about the player. It's about the concept. Meanwhile, when you get into the playoffs, all the teams that you talk about, Cooper Kupp, Adams, whomever else, system be damned, we're getting them the rock. That doesn't happen in Dallas.
So you mean to tell me the quarterback gave him the rock?
The quarterback, the game plan, all of that. Yeah, I just told you.
Are we blaming Dak now?
Dak is part of it.
So Dak is part of the reason why Amari Cooper didn't get the rock.
Dak is part of it. Yes. Is that not a factual thing there?
I don't think Dak was part of the reason.
Oh, okay. I'm not saying he is the reason. I think a combination of Kellen Moore and Dak Prescott are why you saw Amari Cooper only get targeted 21 times in a 3-year span in Dallas. I'm just giving you some context, brother.
Yeah, that's cool. That's cool. Like I said, I understand that. Okay, now you're saying this, the compensation pick. You're sad about this pick, right?
Sure.
But I think they was really trying to worry about getting the money off the books. And would you rather, somebody else had brought this a good point, would you rather trade Amari Cooper to Washington or to New York for a third round, or would you trade him to AFC team so you don't have to see him again? What do you? That's my last point.
Okay, you brought up one of the biggest problems with this. What you just said, they didn't care about compensation. Okay. They cared about cap. That is the problem. They care more about the cap than anything else. We just talked about classical conditioning. Cap. Salary cap is real. Cap. That's what they're going to blast in Cowboys Nation's head. So when these things happen, you fall right in line and say, you know what? Yeah, man, we need the cap. So, yeah, I would have traded Amari any goddamn where for more than a 5th round pick. I don't really give a damn if he went to Washington or Philly. I'm sorry, I wouldn't have. I know a lot of people would have been like, oh, I'm scared shaking in my boots. No, I wouldn't have. I wouldn't have been shaking in my boots. I'm sorry.
I would have. Ain't that where Green Bay made a mistake when they traded Brett Favre to Minnesota?
We act
and
like
now they had to eat them words?
We act like the Dallas Cowboys don't play good wide receivers throughout the year. I'm not scared of Jalen Hurts and Amari Cooper. I'm not scared of Carson Wentz and Amari Cooper. I'm not scared of Daniel Jones and Amari Cooper. But look, brother, I love the opposite opinion on this. This is why we have this show. But I got to get to some more callers. The line is starting to blow up.
Sir.
All right?
Yes, sir. Love your show.
Appreciate you, man.
Thank you, Will.
No problem, man.
All right.
Yeah, let me make that clear. I do not disapprove of you coming on here and disagreeing. I actually want to hear the other side, because if I can have a rebut to it, maybe we can learn something from it. Maybe we can learn something from it. I could learn something from it. I had a good conversation with a guy on Twitter yesterday. We didn't agree. He said some things, and I said, I can see where you're coming from. But I got 26 years of proof that doesn't work. So, you know what I'm saying? All right, let's get into some of our prime time guys. We got D Schiff and then Glenn and then Vicente. What's up, D Schiff?
Hey, what's up, Scott? How you doing, man?
I'm good, brother. How you?
Good, man. Just a quick question for you, man. How do you project us trying to win? We obviously saw that Cooper was widely missed when he missed games. The offense just kind of looks different wide receiver wise, right? And that's to take into granted that over the last years you've lost with your offensive line. So is this kind of a shift in philosophy you see kind of going with the Cowboys? Do you project them trying to kind of go back to those trenches and them feeling so comfortable with letting Coop go? And then also, as far as Lyell, you saw we were able to kind of move forward without him just kind of being on the sideline. DeMarcus Lawrence as well. Now, depending on what you can get to shake up for Gregory, how does this overall roster kind of improve?
It's so early, brother D Schiff. It's just so incomplete right now.
Just trying to take a shot at it. You know what I mean? Like, you do have pieces on the board. There's free agents that we still have to see. We have to see who they're going to draft. So that's kind of easy to do once it's in place. But without it being in place,
we're just projecting.
Because it mentally, like, to the casual fan, it doesn't make sense to kind of let go of these guys. That's why the Cowboys kind of smear them in the media, because the fans who know, we know, but it's a very minute, like, percentage of, the population. Overall, if you're saying on the media Coop was kind of a locker room problem, where the casual fans like, oh, well, he has to go then, and you're saving money. But we know we came up unsuccessful last year with the pieces in place. So if I'm thinking, all right, we're going to take some of them pieces away, I might be thinking, all right, well, we're going to get worse. But that hasn't always been the case, right? We've actually had really good seasons when some of the pieces were lost in the offseason. Think about the 2014 year with Sean Lee going down on a defense that was already bad. So I think there's certain things that could shake up, but I'm just kind of questions what philosophy are the Cowboys trying to switch up to if they feel so comfortable letting go of Cooper and the Lawrence and the Lyell.
I don't think all three are gone, but because it sounds like DeMarcus Lawrence is coming back. Obviously, Lyell's done. They came out this weekend that they're seeking trade partners for Lyell Collins. What philosophy? I have no clue. I would have figured there'd be a different philosophy had they moved on from Kellen Moore. I know you talked about the trenches. You can build the trenches, but Kellen Moore is not known to be a run guy, or hasn't at least. So, on a consistent basis, let me say that. So if Kellen Moore was gone, they brought in a different coordinator that had a system or a scheme that we know of that was tried and true, I could give you more concrete answer on the philosophy. But right now,
say if you got a Sean Payton in the building, right, and you see what he's able to do with the running game and constantly having run production in New Orleans. But that's kind of to go further. So the Cowboys kind of in this position where they're just kind of muddling and like, well, we're just gonna make do with what we got worth, and we're just gonna kind of prepare for the future.
I think
just
that's
questions if it's just a truly rebuild kind of situation.
Yeah, I think a lot of people believe the Cowboys are punting on 2022 and getting ready for 2023, especially when you look at Amari Cooper's contract off the books, so he won't count towards anything next year. You look at Lyle Collins' contract will be off the books in 2023. There's a possibility that Ezekiel Elliott's contract will be off the books. So, yeah, it does look like that they're potentially preparing for the future, which, let's be real, Stephen Jones came out and said that. He said, yeah, we could do this and do that, but we're preparing for 2024 and 2025. Now I'm paraphrasing. Me personally, I hate to hear that. Right? Like, because I want to win now. I don't want to wait 30 years to have that chance to win the Super Bowl. I'm trying to win now. But his job as a business manager is to operate in that way. So he's looking towards the future, and he talks about 23, 24, 25, and he operates in that manner.
Yeah, and especially in a league that you can do that, right? You can go from being very bad to winning a Super Bowl or
fast, yeah.
just being a contender. So I don't, I think they're just scarred. Maybe there's a mentality that they don't have as a front office, and they just kind of go their way. And as you see with Kelly, he always reverts back to what he knows and what he's fundamental, who he is fundamentally. The Cowboys kind of do the same. And so I think we still have, things that we can do just because the conference isn't as strong. It's strong.
Well, we thought it wasn't.
not.
We thought it wasn't going to be. The Tom Brady comes back. Aaron Rodgers comes back. Two teams we assumed were gone are now back on the schedule. That kind of sucks.
Yeah.
Well, quarterbacks.
I think there's some. I think the defense, there's certain things you can analyze in those teams as well. I don't think Tampa Bay has been good without Antonio Brown, honestly.
Bro, we're 0-6 against Tom Brady. I'm gonna be real with you. Until proven otherwise, that's an L.
Respect. But I'm talking about Tampa Bay as a team.
Yeah.
And at this point, if you 6-7 Super Bowls, so you can't. But it is what it is, Scott. Nice call, man.
It is what it
appreciate
is.
you, man. Hope you're doing well, bro.
Thank you.
All right,
Appreciate it. All right, let's get to our guy Glenn. What's up, Glenn?
Hey, what's good, Sky?
What's up with you, man? How you feeling about this wild weekend?
Yeah, it's pretty interesting. I definitely, obviously the trade on paper is bad, right? I mean, Amari Cooper is clearly worth more than what they got in return, but considering that, they already put it out there that they were not going to keep him, they essentially did what I think they essentially did what the Carolina Panthers or what the Patriots did with Stephon Gilmore. They kind of put it out there. And instead of releasing him, they got something for him. So, look, all things considered, something is better than nothing. But it really does, going back to the conversation you had a couple callers ago, I totally agree with you. The Cowboys front office philosophy is the problem. And what's clear to me is that the politics in the front office is completely toxic. And when I say that,
bad.
What I'm saying is that I believe that unless Stephen Jones can get he's motivated by two things in all these deals. The first thing he's motivated by is winning the contract. In other words, he wants to be viewed as getting over on the player. If he can't get over on you, then he's going to string you out, franchise tag you, and then he'll pay you too late, right? That's what he did with Dak. That's what he did with
Marcus Lawrence. Yeah.
And, sure. And so that's the first thing he wants to do. The other thing that Stephen Jones is concerned about is being admired by his NFL peers. He wants to be seen as a guy who is completely a football business genius, right? And he wants to be admired by other executives so that he can be seen as, wow, that's a model of football excellence. And the problem is, it's like you said, you sign an Amari Cooper, you don't sign a $20 million decoy because your system is so great. I think that their whole presupposition that the system dictates, that's not how you win Super Bowls.
It's not.
We don't have a revolutionary offense that the NFL is trying to keep up with. And unfortunately, being number one in yards is completely a smokescreen, because what that does is in the person's mind who's making these decisions, it validates what they're thinking. See, I've got the number one offense. I'm doing this, I'm doing that. And then when it bottoms out in the playoffs, because like you said, and I agree with you, you don't feature your studs. If you don't get your studs to the rock, you're going to fail. Look at OBJ. OBJ was considered on the downside, and he was yesterday's news. But you put him in that Sean McVay offense, you get the ball in his hands. I don't care if it's 5 yards over the middle. There's a certain excitement that takes place when OBJ gets the ball in his hands. And that's the way we should be looking at Amari Cooper. We should have been looking at Amari Cooper and CeeDee Lamb. Just get the ball in their hands, and it gets exciting, right? It electrifies your offense, and it makes defenses overreact. Then you get your other players the ball, and then you're able to sustain drives. It's just a breakdown in the Dan Coryell system that we've been running really for the last 30 years. It's so done, and I'm so done with it. And it's just a cycle that's just going to keep happening and happening over.
I tell you what, they're likely going to take a receiver in the top 3 rounds. I think that if they take one in the first, for sure, but first or second, it's a possibility we could be right back here with either A, CeeDee Lamb, or B, Michael Gallup. Talking about, potentially getting rid of Michael, or not signing CeeDee Lamb because X, Y, Z in regards to wide receiver. So, get ready. I've tried to prepare y'all for that, but get ready if they take a receiver in the first 2 rounds. Hopefully, though, the plan is if they take one in the first 2 rounds, that guy can help you win a Super Bowl in the first 2 or 3 years while he's here.
Well, you're going to run into the same problems, though, right? Because it's a vicious cycle.
Mm-hmm.
What do they say? The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and expecting different results. I truly believe that they're really just kind of clearing up, quote unquote, cap space, which I agree with you. It's fake money. It's just a way to suppress salaries for the players.
Yeah, go look.
They're really punting. Yeah, go ahead.
I was going to say, go look at the cap-held teams right now and go see what they're doing. You got certain teams who are tens of $1 million under the cap, and they're re-signing their quarterbacks, or they're franchise tagging guys, or they're bringing back big players on big contracts. Because, again, I don't want to say it's all fake. Obviously, it's there, and you got to allocate $208 million every year or more to certain players. But obviously, there are other teams that know how to do this better than you. And some Cowboy fans hate that truth about it, and they fall right in line with the front office with everything they're telling you, even though there is ridiculous amount of evidence and proof that proves otherwise, that they don't know what the hell they're doing in this era. But keep falling in line.
Yeah. They just it got personal, and that's why I say the politics, because clearly Cooper could have been restructured if they really wanted to keep him, but clearly. And again, I go back to some things that happened towards the end of last year with the whole, he didn't get the
jab.
TV shot, or whatever you want to call it, the jab, and then he's at the game, and then he's, trust me, people who are in the front office all that, and they feel like that's.
Hey, did you see the visual I put up about the other wide receivers?
I missed it.
Julio Jones, Antonio Brown, Odell Beckham. I'm not going to – we could kind of include Stephon Diggs in regards to baggage. All those receivers had baggage. Way worse baggage than Amari Cooper, and they got you way better compensation. Worse baggage for Amari Cooper. In some instances, worse production than Amari Cooper, more compensation. Because Stephen Jones is not good in that arena. It's really that simple. There is no other thing to it. There's no, the league doesn't think. No, Steven just gets got every single time in that arena. It is what it is. Just admit that.
Yeah. Well, I'll let you get to some other callers, but the last thing I'll say is with regard to, again, I think they're punting on essentially until Sean Payton gets here, and I guarantee you this, the only reason they're interested in Sean Payton is because he was on staff with Parcells here before, and the front office they feel like in the back of their mind that, he's really one of our guys. We're just bringing him back to it. That's what it is. Because otherwise, if you wanted an innovative coach, they're getting hired every year.
Yeah.
Call it the McVay tree, call it whatever tree you want. But because they want to be self-congratulatory and they want some kind of ego stroke and admiration, that's why they're interested in Sean Payton, just because he was here before. If he wasn't here before, I guarantee you they'd have no interest.
We'll see.
And I'll let you go with that.
Yeah, we'll see on Sean Payton. I appreciate the call, Glenn. Appreciate the call. I'm not – we talked about Sean Payton months ago or weeks ago, whenever it was. If it pops back up, it pops back up. At this point, though, I'm not really going to bring too much up of Sean Payton. I know that's the conspiracy theory out there, right, that they're setting this up for Sean Payton. That may be true. That may be true, but I'm not going to spend too much time on that because right now they still have Mike McCarthy. Right now they're working on moving these contracts and what have you, and free agency is starting, so I'm not worried about Sean. They might be. Maybe they are. Vicente. Did I get that right?
How you doing, Sky?
What's up, man? I'm good. How are you?
And hey, I really hate this trade. I really do. There's nothing we could do about it. It's done, you know.
Yeah, it's done.
But yeah, it's done. But I was looking at it. I was like, the only way they could justify this is getting Bobby Wagner.
Oh, I would love that.
You know. Yeah,
I would
I
love
love
that.
that. If they did that, congrats. If they really did that for that, congrats. Because I see now Micah. But do you think that we could sign Wagner and sign Gregory at the same time? They could open some money, right? If they really wanted to, or no?
I mean, they could. I mean, technically, yes, they could. I'm just trying to remove the fandom part of it. Would they? Steve, this is what Stephen Jones told us, and again, when he says certain type of stuff in regards to these contracts, he usually means it. He said we're going to use most of our cap to re-sign our guys. So, could they re-sign Randy? I see it. J-Ron Curse, I hope. Who else? I mean, maybe a Dorrance Armstrong. I'm not sure, but at least J-Ron and Randy, and then you go elsewhere. But Randy and Bobby Wagner, I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't think so. But if they do, man, I'd be happy as hell.
Okay, so who you rather have, Randy or Wagner? Tell the truth.
Wagner.
Me too. Exactly. That's what I said. Let go, Randy, and let's go. You know.
I don't even think that's close.
That's not even close. Exactly. Yeah. So be prepared. If they get Wagner, they're gonna let go of Randy. I'd rather have that. That's the only way I'll justify this trade, and then just go from there and
and
whatever they have to.
Yeah, let me elaborate on that, Vicente. Let me elaborate.
Yeah, okay.
A lot of Cowboys fans would feel better if our team, the Cowboys, actually participated with their cap, right? If they actually went out and got better via free agency with the cap when they cut somebody, or in this case, trade somebody. But you can't possibly sit here and tell me with a straight face you believe that's the case. So show me. You know what I'm saying? Show me. Give me something to believe in you, and I'll be fine. You haven't given me anything to believe in that regard. So, yeah, I'm going to question when you do certain things for cap purposes like this, and then you don't use that cap to get better.
Exactly. That's what I was saying. So I'm wondering, probably, Quinn probably is moving those pieces now. We don't know, or probably he's setting up for him being the coach next year. I don't know.
We're getting into the weeds. We're getting into the weeds.
Yeah, exactly. So that's what I'm saying. Like, that would be pretty damn nice if they do that. But like you said, it's probably not gonna happen. But
yeah, I mean, they gotta show me. I'm not going to project a marquee free agent until I see them actually do it, right? I'm not going to do that anymore. I'm not going to feed y'all rainbows and Skittles, right? I'll provide context.
Exactly.
I'll react to what they do, but to predict that they'll do something that they don't do for the last decade plus, now we're just hoping. I don't want to live by the hope creed at this point, but that's kind of where we're at with it.
How much you think Wagner's gonna get in the market?
I believe it was on Friday. I dropped a tweet. It sounds like he has a really big market that's heating up. So he could get I don't know the deal, but he could get a good price by somebody. And the Cowboys apparently
around the price of Randy. You think he'll be around the price of Randy, or more?
I don't know. I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't know. I'm not going to pretend like I talk to agents and things like that on a daily basis to give you his market value. I don't even know where Randy's market value is right now because of his past. Our team's afraid of that. He is a 30-year-old. Somebody said that Wagner's old. Wagner's like 31. Randy's 30, about to be 30. So I mean, they're not that older.
Right?
And Randy has been more injury prone than Bobby Wagner. So give me Wagner all day.
Yep. Yeah, I'll take Wagner all day too. I was thinking about that yesterday. I was like, they're probably setting up for something else, We're thinking they're going to do something. Now they're taking a different philosophy. But like you said, probably not.
Wagner's 32.
They never done it before.
33.
Yeah, he's old. Yeah, he's older, but
Damn.
so that's yeah. I'd rather have him for 2-3 more years.
Bobby
than
Wagner's 31 years
go
old.
from
He'll be
there.
32 though, but he's 31 right now.
Yeah. So that was I was thinking. I was like, wow, they get Wagner for this, and I'll let go of Randy quick, and then pick my first round of a receiver or a guard or a second round receiver and a first round guard or whatever, But let's go, Let's do that, and then we'll be talking, Just
Yeah.
from there, because I see our defense getting way better, because I see Micah just, oof, he'll be rolling everywhere, Now
Yeah.
you can use Micah as that really player that he is,
Yeah, Mike is
Pretty
going to be a
freelancer,
beast, Vicente. He's going to be a beast. All right, man.
Yeah,
Appreciate the call, good
exactly.
brother.
All right. Thank you, Sky.
Yep.
Take
All right, let me get to some of these super chats here that I did not get to earlier real quick.
Super chat.
I'll start backwards. Tom Downey, you gave us 2 of them, so I'm going to just read both. It says, Sky, too early to buy 2022 Cat Bowl champ hats. He also says, Sky, ever hear of our free agent critique their performance? Tedrick Palmer,
Super chat.
$5 donation, says, does this say more about what the league thinks of him at that price than anything else, combined with young receivers being drafted, Chase, Jefferson, etc.? That is what the rhetoric, that's what the most popular thing is to say right now. I don't agree. I just think that you have a weak negotiator in Stephen Jones. I think it's more about what the league thinks of your front office, where I just showed a ton of other players that have been traded for far better compensation, and they were either far less of a players or they weren't that much greater in regards to production value and when you include the baggage. So I just think you have a bad negotiator, right? Like if I go into negotiations and I know I can get out over you, I feel great. Guarantee you Les Snead wouldn't have got no 5th round pick. That's what I'm trying to tell y'all. Then B Bird,
Super chat.
thank you for the $5 donation. Sky, we're going to need a whole show to talk about the elephant in the room, Dak. That's not an elephant to me, but I mean, if you want to call in, we could definitely talk about it. Again, for me, I'm a believer in Dak Prescott. Yeah, I'm not really tripping about him. Now, does he have flaws? Absolutely, he has flaws, right? But I'm more worried about the elephant in the room is not a player. It's clearly the front office. All right, let's get to 205. Oh, wait a minute. Let me get you in there. 205, what it do?
What's going on, Scott?
What's up, man?
This landlord from Alabama, man, I had called before, But you made some very good points, man, about how this front office been handling these situations. But I really feel like maybe this just took a turn for the worse kind of late. And then when you look at the situation as a whole, I believe your thoughts on it will be a little different.
Okay.
Because I feel like with him being unvaccinated, I believe that plays a big role into this as well. And I don't think people looking at that aspect. And then, of course, he has a pretty different attitude, the way he carries himself. And a lot of teams, that's not attractive to a lot of coaches. We could say it's not an issue, or we don't care about it, or as long as he produce, but it ain't many quiet leaders in the sport.
I don't need him to be a leader though.
Huh?
I don't need him to be a loud leader or quiet. I don't need every player on my team to be a leader. But
you are one of the premier positions though, so he's gonna have to.
That's
you know
not
what I'm saying?
true.
And let's see, the only way. Listen to what I'm saying. Go ahead.
That's just not true. Your money does not dictate your leadership. It dictates your play. Like, they're paying you because you can play the position very well. I don't need everybody that gets paid on my team to be some leader. Now, if you are upset with how he handles himself and you believe other coaches don't like his demeanor, I say, well, how the hell did Antonio Brown get a bunch of chances? How the hell did Odell Beckham get a couple different chances? They are worse off in regards to baggage. And their production, if you look at their production, has not been that much greater than Amari Cooper's. In some cases, hasn't been greater than Amari Cooper. So, I just give him.
That's a different. That's a different type of demeanor I'm speaking of. They used to handling wide receivers with big attitudes and big character.
I'm talking about the rest of the league.
Amari Cooper, you might not even notice he in the room sometimes. That's really not a good angle to be from a coach's perspective. They want you to be a part of, you know what I'm saying? I'm just saying that's one aspect. That's not the biggest part. But to me, him being unvaccinated, the way he carries himself on the field, and all of that, I believe it's a part of the ultimate decision they had to let him go. I think it developed kind of late, so they had to make a certain
So what
decision.
kind of player do the Cowboys want at wide receiver, huh? You get T.O., he's too much. You get Des Bryant, he's too much. Amari Cooper, he's too little. What kind of demeanor do they want? Let me ask you that.
I mean, they got him. CeeDee Lamb. They got him.
What kind of demeanor is CeeDee Lamb, Michael Gallup? Michael Gallup's a quiet dude.
CD got a big personality, but he ain't too big.
So what is Michael Gallup then?
CD waving by on the field. That's why I say you focusing on that one aspect. That's not the only problem. That's all I'm saying. It's all a part of the whole problem. That's just one aspect. You keep focusing on that's just one aspect.
I keep focusing on which one?
You keep focusing on his demeanor. I'm telling you that him being unvaccinated is a part of it
you
too.
You called the show focusing on his demeanor. I didn't bring up his demeanor. You called talking about the demeanor, not me.
I'm naming different things that's all a part of the biggest problem, the way they view him as. I'm not saying that his demeanor that they did this. No, I said I believe it developed late. I said I believe his demeanor played a part in it. I feel like him being unvaccinated played a part in it. And I believe all this stuff collectively made him look and viewed as a little differently in the league. Okay. That's just all I'm not saying that it's just his attitude. No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying all this as a package together made him look a little unattractive for some of these teams. And then you know how Dallas does work. They don't want to put him in the division. They don't want to put him in the NFC probably, period. So that kind of eliminates a lot of candidates to send him to. On top of him not being unvaccinated, people don't want to mess with him. A lot of people, a lot of people didn't want to bother him for that.
You keep saying about this unvaccination thing. I get it during the season. You do know that there is no more COVID protocol in the NFL, right?
I mean, I'm just telling you, like, if the teams feel like you should be vaccinated, it don't matter what the protocols is. If they feel like you should be, that's going to be a part of the equation that when they try to evaluate you. It will. Like, it don't matter if it's right or wrong. We telling you what's reality. They will judge you off of that. You made that decision against the team, and I don't even agree with the vaccination. I'm just telling you the way the people going to look at it.
Sure.
The people who are evaluating you, they are going to judge you off of that.
There is no
Whether
more
it's right
COVID
or wrong,
protocol.
that will be a part of the case.
There is no more COVID protocol. Teams don't give a damn about that anymore. They might have cared.
The noise that the Cowboys made about it, you don't think that was an issue?
Because during that time frame, there was COVID protocol, and it caused him to miss 2 games. Now there is no COVID protocol. So I don't think teams give a damn that he didn't get vaccinated.
So, Scott, this is all I'm saying, and I mean, we can agree to disagree. All I'm saying is, with him
I don't even know what we disagreeing on.
You don't listen what I'm saying, man. With him agreeing to do that, you don't see that as an issue coming from a team aspect?
No, I do not.
Well, we gotta agree to disagree because most teams are looking at him like you supposed to did that probably for the team to make the team better, and he disagreed with it, and he didn't have to. I mean, I'm not saying he had to,
brother.
But when you being evaluated and judged on character, they gonna take that into account. That's all I'm saying.
I hear you, man. I hear you. No, I don't think teams do it, but appreciate the call, man. Landlord, right?
All right. Yep.
Landlord from Alabama. Thanks for the call, man. Now, I don't think teams really care because teams sign guys that do far worse things. Far worse things. Teams trade for guys that do far worse things. So, no, I totally do not believe in him not getting the jab is the reason why he only netted you a 5th round pick. Now, there are a collective. I do agree with him that there's a collective of things that might have came to it. But for me, I think it's as simple as your front office sucks at negotiation. Your front office sucks in that arena. And that's okay, because that's who they are.
It is what it is.
It is what it is.
It is what it is. That's why they got a 5th round pick. I don't think it has much to do with all that other extra jazz. I just showed y'all 8 different instances over the last 4 years. And I didn't even go way back in time. I didn't go way back. I just went the last 4 years. Now you compared the demeanors of Lamb and Michael Gallup. Man, Michael Gallup's chill as hell. I'm trying to figure out, because I heard this last week, somebody said it. What is this personality that Michael Gallup has on the field that's just this big? It's not. Michael Gallup goes out, does his job. He gets a touchdown. He's not doing anything crazy. He's not a wild vocal leader. You don't need a ton of those. Michael Gallup goes out there and just plays the game. And that's fine. Amari Cooper goes out there and he plays the game. That's fine. So because CeeDee Lamb does this, that means something? Come on, man. Come on now. Y'all know better than that. Y'all know better than that. Leadership is not... That's not leadership. That's not leadership. And I really don't care for any of my wide receivers to be leaders if that's not who they are. It's not who they are. Fresh Fade, my guy. What's up, brother?
What's up, man?
What's going on with you?
Man, everything is cool, man. These conversations oh, man. It's hilarious, man. Like, I mean, look, your data that you brought up earlier, I mean, it was spot on. It was spot on, man. You can't deny it. I mean,
no, there's people who are. There's people who are going to fall in line, and people who don't like to hear the truth. I told y'all I'm gonna come on here and be 100. I'm never gonna sit here and be Skittles and Rainbows guy or be doom and gloom, because I'm still not doom and gloom. But when it calls for criticism, I'll bring it up. I mean, it's just that simple. And you got hoes in this trade. It is what it is.
Facts, man. That's what I appreciate about you, man. If you're looking for a raw type of person that is always speaking 100% positive, never brings up the negative,
that's not real.
Be the show for you, yeah.
This ain't it, bro.
But you're right though. Man. I think with Amari not being vaccinated, I mean, that kind of went off the table. I mean, when I saw the 5th and 6th round pick, I mean, honestly, it's just a 5th, to be honest.
It's a 5th. I don't even bring up the 6th. It's a 5th round pick.
Yeah, it's ridiculous, man. It just makes you realize that, I mean, look, it is what it is. Stephen Jones has his job because of his dad, and it's just not – it's just a thing that we got to deal with, right? I mean, we can – look, I'm at a loss for words, to be honest, after this weekend and after seeing that trade value. I think at this point, when it comes to replacing Amari Cooper, I mean, the hope is that CeeDee Lamb takes another step up.
I think
the hope is that –
I think he can. Fresh.
I think he will.
Yeah, I'm not down on CeeDee Lamb at all, like a lot of people are.
Yeah, I think now that, I mean, he knows now that he's the guy. Like he knows. So I think this offseason he's going to prepare like he's the guy. I mean, this is his time now. I mean, Michael Gallup slides into the number 2 slot. Well, that's where he already was. But I mean, the number 3 should be like a super fast, speedy guy. I mean,
and we're going to talk about that this week. Trust me. Tomorrow's show we'll start talking about potential. Yeah. More not start. We already did, but go dive into more receiver type guys. I think in the top 100 they should go get themselves a slot guy who has the ability to slide out if they need to, but definitely that slot type of guy. And Sky Moore would be. I would love it. I just don't know if he's going to be there at 56.
Yeah, I don't know why. I think. I mean, one of the ways I was just thinking this through was that maybe from the front office perspective is that, well, hey, our best coordinator is on the defensive side. Why not allocate more money to that side? So that may have been the thought process with getting rid of Cooper, getting rid of Collins, besides just off the field stuff. they may be gearing up to go all in on defense to sort of make it elite somehow. Maybe get, I'm hoping that we can get, BW. We'll see. But, if we could get, BW in the building along with some good defense, some more defensive help, re-signing Curse. I want them to re-sign Hooker so bad because this will be the first time he'll have a full off season without rehabbing.
Who's that?
What I mean? It'll be dedicated. Malik Hooker.
Oh, okay.
It'll be dedicated to him getting better. I think that would be the best route to go because we know this franchise doesn't draft safeties high. That's not going to happen.
Yeah.
So you might as well bring back the people that know how to play the position. And we didn't have any coverage busts last year. We didn't have many coverage busts. So, with Malik Hooker back there, and we had some, but with Malik Hooker and Curse back there, I think it'll be a little bit better, and then just really focus on the defense. What do you think about that?
I think that's what they're going to do. That's what he said. Stephen Jones said most of our money is going to be spent on our own guys and then trying to hit in the draft, which has been their thing for the last 20 years or whatever. So this isn't. I'm just being real. This is how they believe you win, and it's freaking stupid because it's not true. But go ahead. I know. I ain't mean to throw a wet blanket over it, but that's just what he's going to do. So if you're going to do it, who should I bring back?
Yeah.
I would bring back Hooker. I would not bring back KZ. And I'd roll with Hooker and Jaron Curse, and I would still draft a safety. Usually they do this after the 4th round, so do it in the 4th or 5th or 6th round, and then see if they can, develop into a starter down the line, which none of the guys they've drafted over the last 20 years after the round 3 have developed into a starter. But hey, maybe we'll hit. Just continue to do what they do and stick around and hope you catch fire.
Yeah, and for the person who, somebody brought up Dak a little earlier, you got to realize, and this is just one of the things that other fan bases and Dak haters and people on the Dallas Cowboys fan base who don't like Dak, you got to realize this. Normally a quarterback has a full off season to prepare and work on things that the deficiencies. But last off season, you got to realize Dak was rehabbing all off season. He didn't have a chance to get better. And then preseason, he didn't have a chance to get better because his arm was hurt. And you got to realize, look at the season he had without having a full off season, without having a preseason, without having time to get better. He was basically just working on, what he knew from the previous year. And just, it wasn't really, you got to think, imagine if he had like a full off season to work on stuff to actually get better. You know what I mean? When you think about that, he really could have, went super crazy, like MVP crazy.
I just flat out think you got a top 10 quarterback, man. Like I don't.
Yeah, me too.
It doesn't. I don't really know if I need to dive in that much with the guy. He's a top 10 quarterback.
Facts. It's that thing like that. I don't know. It's like you don't know what you have until it's gone, type of thing. It's everybody's always looking at Aaron Rodgers and Patrick Mahomes and Josh Allen. Like, look, those are. Like, look, if you're blessed enough to get that player, great. But it's rare. Like, who knew Josh Allen would be Josh Allen? And then also you got to factor in the offensive coordinators too. You can't just look at the quarterback and say, "Oh, this is just all the quarterback." No, that's not what it is, man.
Yeah.
You got to look at the offensive coordinator too, because if Dak had a McVay, if Dak had a Andy Reid and those guys. He's doing all this with Kellen Moore's basic ass calling. Like, think about this shit, man. Think about it. All of this greatness, all of this top 10 stuff with average at best. Well, like offensive coordinators who are predictable. If he had someone who's super creative, he would be something crazy, man. So
yeah, let me just say this. Like I said earlier, I'm not saying this man is perfect. I'm not saying he's not flawed. I'm not saying he doesn't have things he needs to get better at, even going into year 7. With all that said, I still believe he is a top 10 guy, so that's a good thing. And I've said this before. I said it during the Romo era. I said it earlier in the Dak Prescott era. I don't care how good you are, you still need good coaching. And I say this all the time to y'all. It's so evident. It is beyond evident across the league that good coaching and a good front office helps all the players, not just your quarterback, but the one that gets the most criticism and the most praise. It helps that person. And when you have to overcome those two things above you, hey, man, if you do it, more power to you. If you don't, just get ready for the criticism. And that's what's happening. And that's totally fair, right? I said it. I said unfairly, for me, in my opinion, I'm going to put the onus on you to overcome two deficiencies above you, because that's the only hope I have, is for you to overcome that. And he hasn't done it yet. And one of the things I want to see him get better at, I think the decision-making will get better because over the second half of the year, I didn't like his decision-making. I thought that he was way too, he wasn't as precise as he was in regards to just getting it out. But that's not the part. The part I want to see him actually really get better at is finishing. I said it going into the 2020 year, and I'll say it again going into 2022, because he started off pretty good finishing, and then he didn't finish at the end of the year. I need you to finish better, Dak. That's where I need you to get better at. In regards to actually quarterbacking, I think he'll continue to be a good quarterback, but I just need to see you finish like you used to in your first 2 or 3 years in the league. He was top 5 or top 3 in comebacks and game-winning drives. I just need to see more of that moving forward.
Yeah, man. And the last thing I'll leave with this, man. I mean, I know it feels like, I don't know, maybe McCarthy, I don't know if he's getting put in the best position to succeed. I'm not. No. I think it feels like this is just like, hey, let's just willy-nilly this year because Sean Payton is the prize for next year, man. And as much as I'm not, I mean, I like McCarthy, but I'm not like a huge fan. I sort of feel bad for him at this point because he came into this thinking probably something different. He probably thought he'd come in and have a little bit more. I mean, I'm not sure he thought he had more control.
He knew what he signed up for. That's why part of me don't feel bad.
Yeah, he knew what he signed up for, but I still feel a little bit bad for him because it's like everybody's sort of coming at him different ways. He's getting attacked in the media. Jerry Jones is saying,
hey, listen, man,
like,
if
watch
you
your back.
Can't handle the heat, get out the kitchen.
Yeah, I mean,
listen, man. I don't got time for him to be all in his. To be, you know what I'm saying? I don't got time for it. I need you to figure out a way. Figure out a damn way. It's been too damn long, bruh. So I know he went on there. He did that Rich Eisen, and he came out. He sounded a bit frustrated. It sounded a bit taken back. He sounded like, damn, I didn't know all this extra stuff came with Dallas. Well, you knew something came with it because you took the job without being the caller. Right? You took the job while getting your nuts cut. So you knew something came with it.
Yeah, I'm just afraid about like future. Well, every coach and everybody knows this in the league. Like it's gonna, even with some big names that come available, they're not going to want to come to Dallas because they know what time it is. So, but that's all I'll leave with, man. Hey, Cowboys Nation, keep y'all heads up, or try to at least. You know what I mean? We already know what it is. We already know what we're into, but we just got to hope for the best, man. And I'll leave y'all with that. All right, Scott.
Appreciate you, Fresh.
All right, bro.
Yeah, McCarthy, you're just going to get it done, man. I'm not as anti-McCarthy as most. Do I think there's other head coaches out there that I would like to take a shot at if the Cowboys were in the market? Sure. But it is frustrating to know that the guy that I kind of want in town, which is kind of a guy that's going to be confrontational with the front office, I don't think he's that dude. Do I think McCarthy? A lot of people think he just sucks. He doesn't know football. I think McCarthy knows a lot of football, more football than he forgets more football than I know. Right. But it's tough in Dallas because you got to deal with things that most franchises don't. And again, just like with the quarterback, I put it on the head coach. You need to overcome what's above you. It is what it is. And is McCarthy that guy? He's probably not. I'll be honest with you. I hope it happens this year. But he's probably not that guy for this organization. But he's got a core of enough talent that if the front office adds to the talent, not get rid of it, maybe the talent can overcome a lot of things. But right now, I think it was D Schiff who asked about the direction. It's too early. A lot of holes that have to be filled, a lot of re-signings. You got the draft still. You still have free agency. It's too early to think about what could be. I told you I don't like to use the word Super Bowl roster. I don't think at this moment, though, this is a roster that's complete because it's early. It's March. We don't know. We don't know yet. All right, we got a lot on the line here. Let me lock these up, and we'll get through them. promise y'all. 757. What it is, what it do?
Virginia Beach.
Virginia Beach. What's up, VB?
I talked to you the other day.
Mm-hmm.
No, my the only thing I got to say is this. Kellen Moore is the problem with this team, period. Start, finish. Until they start, and the offensive line coach, until they start using Dak, Zeke, all your top-notch players, they misuse. Dak, Zeke, Coop. They got to learn how to run the ball. They got to learn how to redo the thinking at the offensive line, pull, trap, string. They do all of that. They don't do none of that.
No.
Right. Excuse me. I didn't mean to cut you off. Go ahead.
No, I was just saying, correct. They don't pull, they don't trap. That's something I talk about a lot, is do the things that worked. And you don't need to have all pro guys to pull the lineman, get them out in space to get up on a cornerback or a safety or a linebacker.
Right.
Yeah,
I agree with you. That I need you to tell that story to these fans again about the bell, because I don't think they listening.
You talking about the Pavlov experiment?
Yeah.
It's real, bro. It's so real. I see it.
I agree with you 100%, because these fans, they listen, watch TV, listen to what they hear, and then they take on that psychology. They need to think for themselves. If you watch the game, you can think for yourself. But evidently, they don't know what they're watching. Because ain't no way you can put a knock on Coop. Coop came in from college, the number one wide receiver out of the draft. Best player in college football. How did he go to pro and get down like this? I have never known, but I understand it. But, Coop was never originally a Dallas Cowboy because he wasn't drafted. That's why I knew when they drafted Lamb, I knew his days was numbered then, especially when they gave Lamb the number 88 after he didn't want it initially.
That's kind of true. I mean, that's what I said earlier in the show. I had a previous podcast, and we both said, hey, man, me and Big Game James, hey, they drafted Lamb. They gave him 88. I mean, obviously the clock is ticking on Amari Cooper, even with the extension and then the way they structured it. This was always a possibility. So it's not a shock that they were going to move on from Cooper, but the compensation was poor. There's no way around it. It was poor.
But they put themselves in that position.
They put themselves in that position. Exactly.
Putting on the negativity on Coop. I'm like, that was that's why when I called you the other day, I said package everybody. That don't mean you get rid of them. Just try to package the and get what you can get. Because the only one I figured they could have got a 3 or above is Martin.
Now CVB, I'm gonna have to cut you right there. I'm not trading no damn Zach Martin, VB.
No, see you have. Listen, I didn't say trade. I just said put their names out there and just see what you can get.
Oh.
I didn't say trade, just see. You could have took Martin's name back off the list, and even if they would have dropped a draft pick or two, and got something else for somebody else. You need McGregor and Connor, all the rest of them guys.
Let me ask you, and let me ask the nation, because right now the next person to get off is Lyle Collins. So we're about to see. We're about to get some kind of recent data on them trading pretty solid players, right? One really good player in Amari Cooper, and some people don't believe in Lyle, but I do. So Lyle Collins is about to get traded. What do you guys think he's going to get in return? 28-year-old right tackle has a bad history the last 2 years in regards to being on the field, but when he does play, when he is on the field and he's right, he's good. He's a good tackle. What do you think that Lyle is going to get?
I hate to say this. If they got a fifth for Cooper, you don't even want to know what they're gonna get for Lyle.
All right, well, let me add a little bit of context. So his contract is not as big as Amari Cooper's though. So he's got like $30 million owed to him over the next 3 years, $10 million per year. So it's a little more team friendly. Does that help you out a little bit here?
Well, if I had to guess, I said it'd be somewhere around a fifth.
I swear to goodness.
That's why I say throw in the package deal to raise the ante.
If they get a 5th round pick for Collins, y'all, I don't know what more.
You might as well get ready to get. You just said it yourself. They don't know how to.
I don't know what more I can say. If that's all they give for.
When you brought this up on your show, I've been waiting for you to bring this up for so long. As far as Dallas does not know how to trade players.
Dallas?
Yeah, Yes.
Oh yeah, they don't.
On a while ago. They do not know how. They don't know how to work the trade market.
They don't. I've been saying that for a while, but again, people don't want to hear that. People just want you to talk about the amazing drafts that they get, which again, that can be a bit overstated. But they do draft well, but that's all they do. And you cannot win in this league that way. I don't know how many times I got to keep saying it and showing you the proof.
Here's that thing about the statement you just said. They draft well, but they don't use all the players. That's what I don't get.
You know, what you talking, VB? I'm gonna let you say. Sometimes you say something, but then you say something else, and I'm like, you know what? Yeah, that's great. That's a great point right there. You're right. Specifically, Tony Pollard. You got a steal of a weapon in the fourth round. Sir. And if you look at his total usage over those 3 years, it is pathetic.
Thank you. I'm glad you said that. The reason why I'm glad you said it, this is my philosophy. I never want to draft a player if you don't have to, unless they're a stud at one position. I don't believe in one position guys. Pollard can play anywhere. Running back, wide receiver, kick return, punt return. Those are the kind of guys I like.
Yeah, TP is versatile guy.
Yes, I wouldn't mind drafting a safety, but only if he's a stud. Because if you draft a safety, what are you going to do with the young boys you move from corner to safety that come out of, I believe, he's a South Carolina to play with Horn?
Oh, Mukwamu.
Yeah, I can't pronounce the name. That's why I couldn't say it.
Yeah.
What are you going to do with him?
He was always a project, right? Like, I'm not counting on Izzy. We'll see what he does in camp.
That's what I'm saying. Then why draft him?
Well, that's another discussion. I mean, he's a 6th-round pick, though, so I'm not really putting too much pressure on the 6th-rounder.
Oh, you better pay attention to that 6th-rounder, because I'm going to tell you why. Those are the players that Jerry love, because they ain't got to pay them nothing. And they'll be on our roster for 7-8 years. Look at Church and Heath.
Jeff Heath, yeah, you ain't lying.
On the show with Church. They were 6th and 7th round draft picks. You didn't see I'm 57. I go back a long time. Oh, another question for you.
Last one. I got you.
What do you get? What kind of penalties do you get for being over the salary cap?
I have not seen a team since, I think it was like the Vikings a long time ago. I'm not sure. I'd have to look that up. But most teams get under the salary cap prior to the league year. But that's a good question. Maybe somebody in the chat can answer that question. The penalty for being over the cap at the start of the league year. Not quite sure what that is. Why you ask, though?
Because everybody keep hollering cap. I said, I'm 57 years old. I ain't never heard. I said, if I heard, I can't remember. I don't remember nobody getting at least heavily penalized for being over the cap.
Well, because they get under the cap. That's why, VB. They get under the cap.
Yeah. So everybody keep hollering that Coop is a cap casualty. DeMarcus Lawrence and Larry Collins, we need $22 million. Like I keep telling people that's bull.
All right, VB. I appreciate the call, man. Good passion too.
All right. Take it easy.
Take it easy. VB said, I still want to package everybody. Yeah, that's a good question. I didn't read the answers from y'all, but Lyle Collins, what y'all think they're gonna get? Somebody said 2nd or keep him. 3rd for Collins. 6th or 7th with Steven as the GM. 3rd for Collins. 5th. Oh man, if they only get a 5th for Lyle Collins, I don't even know what else more I can say. I don't know what more I can say. I mean, I think at very least a 3rd round pick. Right? At the very least, a 3rd round pick. Most teams get multiple picks, but at the very least, 1 3rd round pick for Lyle Collins should suffice. Right? I mean, come on. But again, we're talking about a front office that just doesn't do well in that arena. Well, do something to change my mind. Right? I said they have two opportunities. One was Amari Cooper, who we saw what happened, and the other one was Lyle Collins. Let's see what happens here. But he's out of here. That's for a fact. They granted his camp permission to seek a trade. Permission to seek a trade. A lot of y'all are saying 2 or 4. Amari didn't have money left to restructure. You need to keep him. I'm worried about injuries. 1st round talent. Heiser said, take your 7th round and be happy. Take your 7th round and be happy. I'm going to get to these last few callers, and maybe I'll revisit this tomorrow. Excuse me. But we didn't really talk about Gallup's deal much. And the specifics are still coming out. However, the totality of his deal was 5 years, $62 million in total, $10 million signing bonus, $27 million guaranteed. I'm good. I don't think this is a crazy deal at all. Some people are not happy with it. And listen, I get it. Michael Gallup has been injured a lot the last 2 years. In fact, he got injured a couple years ago too, missed a couple games. I don't think he's a one. There's an argument on Twitter about him being a wide receiver one. I don't believe that. But I believe with CeeDee Lamb and Michael Gallup as your two, that is a good enough duo to get by. And they don't like that either, that term get by. But I think it's a good enough duo to be fine. Depending on a system, right? Who else is around them? Are they going to get the rock, et cetera, et cetera? But the cap hit in year one shouldn't be that much because of the signing bonus. And then in year two, I think it'll still be less than 20 million and probably less than 15 million. So if it is structured as a 2-year deal, then get out. This was a safe deal for the Cowboys. And when you look at the guarantees compared to the rest of the league, maybe I'll pull it up next year. Rest of the league for wide receiver twos, it comes in under. The APY comes in under a lot of those other guys. During the season, when Jesse and I would talk on pregame shows, postgame shows, we kept saying if Gallup didn't get injured, you're looking at $15 to $17 million because that's what wide receiver twos were getting on the market. Well, now I look at Mike Williams, who is wide receiver two. He got 20, but that's neither here nor there. But the injury in week one really hurt his value, and then he tore his ACL, so it took it down more. So actually, kudos to Gallup and his camp for still getting 12.5 APY and a $62 million deal potentially. But also kudos to Dallas for putting in a out clause after 2 years, if that is the case. That seems to be the case around the league. The thought is that after 2 years, they can get out of it with a little bit of dead money, similar to the Amari Cooper contract, which, again, if they take a wide receiver in round 1 or round 2, they could be looking to move on from Gallup or CeeDee Lamb, or maybe they can restructure it, right? You got 5 years, so they love to restructure, and you lower that cap hit in year 3 or 4, in that year 3, and you keep Michael Gallup. So I personally, I don't think this is a bad deal, especially when you know you were getting rid of Cooper. Now, would I have wanted to get rid of Cooper in lieu or for Michael Gallup? No, that's not what I wanted to do. I wanted to keep Amari Cooper, CeeDee Lamb, restructure and use that money to go do other things. So this is a good deal for the Dallas Cowboys. This is a good deal for Michael Gallup. And after 2 years, we'll revisit it. It's a less C deal. 682, what it is, what it do.
What's going on, Scott? How you doing, man? It's Dre.
What's up, Dre? What's going on with you?
Nothing much from Young King. Nothing much. First off, I just want to offer a different perspective to this Amari Cooper thing, man.
Okay.
I remember landlord. Shout out to landlord. He was making it about the personality. I disagree. I think we, as Cowboy fans, we need to realize that we were blessed to have Amari Cooper for his last 2 years. Matter of fact, so blessed that I would even go as far to say is if the draft was before free agency, Amari Cooper would have never got that extension. When have we seen or known the Cowboys to heavily invest in any position? I mean, let's be honest. We had an embarrassment of riches in the wide receiver. Mike Gallup, which his contract, they see him as a number 2, obviously. They gave CeeDee Lamb 88 as soon as he made it inside the building, bro.
Soon.
Not only did they give it to him, they made him get it. They made it. They made him take it. He didn't even want it. So I feel like as soon as CeeDee Lamb was drafted, Cooper's days was numbered. He was never supposed to get signed. If the draft was before free agency, Cooper would have been with the no names or formerly known as the Commanders.
You might not be wrong and that would have been even worse because they gave up a first round pick. Like, you don't give up a first round pick for a year and a half of work, right? So I thought that they were definitely going to re-sign Cooper until they didn't. They waited till the 11th hour. He actually hit free agency, which again, silly, but he hit free agency, and then they finally signed him. But you absolutely might be right. They might have said, nah, we're good. We'll forego the first round pick, which again would have looked stupid.
I mean, foresight is 2020, my brother. This is the same front office that drafted Michael Gallup and expected him to fill the shoes of Dez Bryant. You know, I know they said full wide receiver by committee, but at the end of the day, they wanted somebody to step up even back then to take that number one spot.
Clearly,
I'm not sure if it was going to be Bryce Butlers of the world, you know, or the Hearns of the world, but they wanted Michael Gallup probably to step up and take that spot. And number two, my final point, because I know you probably got the other callers, and you know you need to get on.
Yeah, just one more. As
do I. I don't blame everything on Kellen Moore. Now, don't get me wrong. I was with Cowboys Nation. I was up on Sundays seeing 3rd and 15s and throwing screens to Zeke and screaming at the TV as well. But man, let's look at this front office, man. This front office is ridiculous. There's no reason that TT doesn't get the touches that he deserves. Hell, there's no reason that Zeke should have ever been getting as many touches as TT as he's got a torn PCL or whatever. You know, I'm not a doctor. We just gotta look at the evidence and the history. Like this front office has their hands on who has the ball or gets touches or who gets PT in general. And there's no other organization that I know of that
he's preaching
runs
to the choir.
and operates that way.
You are preaching to the choir, brother. For the front office is the true elephant in the room. The front office is the true problem, and anybody that wants to ignore that are either A, company men, or B, burner accounts for said front office. I mean, that is clear as day. It's the most obvious thing. There's been one common denominator over the last 3 decades, and it is the front office, point blank, period. And I can confirm that it is true that certain people in the front office, specifically Jerry, but not just him, do sit in certain meetings per week multiple times, and while they might not specifically say so-and-so needs to get the ball, they will insinuate it. That comes from a former coach. So it does happen. Your players have come out and said that, right? Dez Bryant, Cole Beasley, they've come out and said the same type of things, which, all right, it's probably not as common, but if that's the case, then get it to the right people.
Man, I'm telling you, and I've had the fortune to play one-on-one with Cole Beasley once before at Prestonwood Church in Plano.
Hey, you know, you broke your ankles, didn't
you? If he dunked all over me. But anyway, if he says it, bro, I believe it, man, because he's just a real stand-up, straight to the point kind of dude, man. Like he honestly is good dude, bro. I kind of miss Beasley. And there's no reason that Coop targets should have went down as well, man. I'm just saying that the front office had their hands all over this thing, man. And they're always going to be the biggest reason why we don't get anywhere in the playoffs. I wouldn't even say to a division game at this point, man. I'm to the point where I'm probably about to handle this next season like Switzerland, straight neutral. But anyway, man, you have a good day, young Skywalker. I appreciate you coming on the airways and blessing people with this good knowledge and speaking the truth.
Thank you, sir.
And just keep doing your thing, brother.
I'm trying, man. Appreciate the call and the kind words, man. Keep calling in.
Will do, my brother. Take care.
Yeah, y'all know that's the reoccurring theme here, which is why I can't wait to the draft and everything else, and hopefully free agency. Cowboys won't participate, obviously, likely in day 1 and 2 of free agency, or week 1, maybe not even week 2 of free agency, but still some players are going to get signed, and we can start talking about how they fit in the current construction of the Dallas Cowboys. Whether we believe the current construction of the Dallas Cowboys can win a Super Bowl or not,
it is what it is.
It is what it is.
It is what it is. I'm going to tell you what the Dallas Cowboys are.
I don't want peace. I want problems always. I don't want peace. I want problems always.
They don't want peace. They want problems. They love problems. It sells. It keeps them in the talking point. That is the Dallas Cowboys, man. That is the Dallas Cowboys. All right, let's get to the final caller, 206. What it is, what it do?
What up, man? It's MJ. How you been doing?
MJ, what's good?
Man, everything's good, brother. I see your little show doing good.
Thank you, sir.
Proud of
Appreciate
you.
that.
Yes, sir. Hey, I was talking to Long Nation yesterday. We had a good conversation with him and his brother. But
Law and his brother are twins, fam.
Yeah, I know. They
It's
look
crazy.
like twins, like but they was on that cracking up. But I was telling them the for everybody on here, we gotta get out them sellers, bro. That's that man team. He gonna do what he gonna do. And I'm gonna tell you something. And you know this. Say if I'm the coach. And Jerry came in that room. Hey, Mark, I want you to give the ball to goddamn Zeke. I'm gonna say, Jerry, I'm gonna tell you one thing, sir. What you got me here to do? I didn't come here to give the ball to Zeke. I came here to win a championship, sir. So if I get 1,500 yards to Pollard, that make you look like a genius, Mr. Jones. So let me do my job, sir. I'm not giving the damn ball to Zeke. I'm not running that ball up the middle. I'm giving that ball to Pollard, 4-3. We're going to get touchdown. You like that style? You're going to be the talk of the city, Jerry. Tony Pollard. Sweet right. Sweet left. Tony Dorsett again, brother. So sorry, Jerry. I'm sorry, sir. Now, look, we come back to the room, say me and you the coaches. We just put up 40 on the 49. I'll have had 200 yards. What you think Jerry gonna be in the booth going crazy? Wow. That's how you shut Jerry up. I'm not letting Jerry Jones come there and tell me to get a damn ball to Zeke. No.
Yeah.
Sorry, Zeke.
Zeke needs to be a part of the equation, but the gist of what you're saying, I agree. You need your head coach should be saying, screw what you talking about. I'm going to do what I think is best to win this to win the Super Bowl on this team.
Thank you. So that's one part. The second part, we got to stop. Now, I want the quarterback to be the best. He got to start. He got to, sometimes, if it cuts, I got to go back to it again. 2 minutes and 57 seconds left. We're at the 49ers 45-yard line. We had first down. We didn't go nowhere.
Yeah. That final last plays were frustrating, yeah.
Come on, man. 2:57 left, y'all. Now, y'all can't tell me. He that old-ass quarterback from Tampa Bay. He the dink and dunk.
Don't disrespect. Hey! Don't disrespect Tom Brady like that, man. He's the greatest. He's the greatest last-minute quarterback of all time.
Thank you. So he would dink and dunk the 49ers all the way down to the 10-yard line and would have got a chance. You know what I'm saying? So we still had a chance. Even though we played pitiful, we had 2:57 left on the clock, and we still could have won. Point 3. And I'm going to tell y'all one more time. I love my boy Coop. Hey, we got to feel whatever. Oh, well, we always give receivers. Y'all got to think of that. The Cowboys, we always give receivers. I mean, trust me, I'm going to tell you something. Still, we're going to get another receiver, probably in the 3rd or 4th round, that's going to be fast and cold-blooded, and the whole Cowboys Nation going to be going crazy. Oh. So I'm not worried about that. The key for me is the offensive coordinator. He better learn to call better plays, and the offense, while Atlanta probably leaving because he pissed Jones off because they paid him that money, and he smacked him in the face, and he got in that office, and y'all ain't watching. When the Dallas Cowboys put their second-string line in, look at the middle of that line. Them young boys, 22, and 23, was playing better than the first striker in the middle of that line. That Spanish kid is getting better, number 60, and the dude from Nebraska. Y'all better watch out. That guy's getting stronger.
Fournier.
Yes. I'm telling y'all. Y'all better see. Y'all don't be watching football, man. Y'all worrying about these stars. We got a lot of players that's gonna be good. And Collins, he didn't want to play the guard. They say this nigga don't want to play guard. He was afraid. They gonna get him out of there. They say, man, get him out of here. We paid him that money. We want to put him back at guard. He keep complaining. We gonna get him out of here. So you probably probably a 4 to 7. Still better than nothing.
Oh,
so I'm not
God.
even tripping, 'cause I'm
A 7?
Still. Yeah. Somebody going to pimp us because they just want to get him out of there because they pissed off at him. So I'm not mad because I'm a Cowboy fan.
Yeah.
Before Jerry, before you, before me, I'm Cowboy. So I don't care about it. So I can deal with it. But the last part.
Oh, but I thought that was your last point right there, brother. We got to get going, man.
Okay, one more. The key for us to win the Super Bowl, we have to make the middle of our defense powerful. So
now that I agree with.
If we get that defense in the middle powerful, I told Law I want number either the guy 99 from Georgia or my boy from Connecticut, the big D tackles that gonna get that power. That'll help your threes, and then that linebacker from Wyoming.
Chad Muma, that's my guy.
That's my guy.
Yeah, I like
You
Chad.
if you put him, man, that'll take so much stress off of number 11, the missile. That's what I call him, the missile. You put him, man, that defense will be cold-blooded.
100%.
Don't
forget the safety position.
Yeah.
Don't forget that.
Yeah, and we're going to get a safety. Because we can. And another thing, we got to stop favoritism. Because there's some people on that team, me and you could be there, and there be people all playing people, and they be still favoritism. They got to get out the favoritism. Put the best player that win in camp. Stop favoritism.
100.
And the Cowboys are finally winning a Super Bowl. They'll finally win if you stop favoritism. Don't favoritism, man.
Okay.
So that's what I say. The coaches got to coach and shut up. Let the man do it. Because you got to remember still, we used to always pay all that money back in the day. And some of the players get all that money and stink it up for the Cowboys. I know Jerry. That's why Stephen Jones took off. He said, man, Dad, we paying all this money for them players, and they stinking it up, making us go, man, forget them players. You can't get mad at them, man. Before, you know what I'm saying?
I hear you, brother. I hear you. Appreciate the call, man. A lot of fire there from you. And again, I love the passion. You said some good things there. Definitely about that middle of the team. Period.
Yes.
All right,
That's
man.
right.
Enjoy the rest of your day, man.
You too, brother.
Yeah, I'm down. I'm down for improving the middle of the defense. Who is it here? Keith said, "Hey Sky, if you like Chad Muma, which I do like Chad, like a couple linebackers. Why you want Bobby?" So let's clarify these2 things here. None of them dudes is Bobby Wagner. Let's just get that out the way. If you were to get Bobby Wagner provides you Pro Bowl performance and talent, all pro, all world type of ability right now, and at least for the next 2 or 3 years. And obviously I would love to get that championship pedigree on this team, right? I think it helps you out. But with that said, if I don't get a Bobby Wagner, I do think that in the draft, you can at least get a pretty solid linebacker in the first 3 rounds. So that's always been the case. And I'm going to be real with you, Keith. My Cap Boy mentality was not to go get a Bobby Wagner because I just throw that to the side. I don't believe they're going to sign big name free agents. I just don't. So I don't even get myself worked up. The guys that I would have liked to go look at, I believe, is Zach Cunningham, Quan Alexander, and I forget the other one we talked about, but some other smaller name guys that have the talent but fit under the Cap Boy criteria. That doesn't stop you from drafting a linebacker either. So, yeah, I love Bobby Wagner. It's Bobby freaking Wagner. But if Cowboys don't do that, I still think they should obviously sign some veterans, specifically veterans that can play for you, not projects, right? Like they signed, what was his name? Keanu Neal to be a project linebacker. All right, that didn't work. Let's not do that again. Let's get actual linebackers on this team and then draft you some guys if need be. Y'all funny, man. Steven said, until I apologize to Steven, I'll get no safety. Brother, they ain't drafted a safety in the top 3 rounds for years. Apologize for what? Stephen White's funny. I'm starting to think you are Stephen Jones' burner account. He said, when I played this one here,
I don't want peace. I want problems.
He said, I'm the problem. I'm the problem. I have a problem. Excuse me, sir. How do I have a problem? Your problem is this man. It ain't me. I'm not the one who's built the franchise that can't win a damn thing in 26 years, 27 years, whatever the hell it's been. It's this guy. But hey, you can keep capping for him if you want, man. I welcome you here. But if you can't handle the heat, brother, that I put on this man, get out the kitchen. Get out the kitchen. It's really that simple, you know? And again, when they do certain things like a contract like this, which I am personally fine with, yeah, they deserve some praise. When they drafted Micah Parsons, Will McClay, deserve some praise when they do good in the draft or what have you. But again, I'm not worried about them drafting guys. I don't worry about them really signing their own. They sign their own. Now, when they sign their own is a problem, but they sign their own. I've been saying it forever and forever. They have to get better in the free agency arena, and they have to get better in the trade arena. Until they do that, you can keep capping for them all you want. You can keep capping for them all you want. Keep it real. I'm never going to be on here and fake it. A lot of people, they call it doom and gloom and things like that because I have a show 5 days a week. I talk about the news that's happened. Mark Cooper was traded for boo-boo, for nothing. Y'all want me to come on here and spin that and make it seem like it's a great trade? Sorry, it's not. It is what it is. Now, we'll move on tomorrow. We'll talk about other things and keep pushing and things like that. But if y'all looking for me to hide the truth of certain things, you got the wrong one, man. You got the wrong one. With that said, I knew today was going to be an explosive episode due to all the news. Now, we've digested most of it, and throughout the week, we can kind of break things down in regards to the draft, what these moves may mean. Free agency is upon us now. I'm pretty sure there's some news that's already broke. I haven't been on Twitter for the last 2 hours, so I know there's guys that are being signed, guys that are being released. The Cowboys should be involved in that with their own, meaning Malik Hooker, Jaron Kearse, Randy Gregory. These guys should be signed in the next week, I hope, because when they hit the trade or when they hit the free agency market, you never know then. You never know. So we'll keep y'all up to date on that. All right. Now tune in later tonight. Mauricio will be on for A to Z Sports Prime Time. Check out AtoZSports.com/Dallas for all your Cowboys articles, news, updates, opinions, all that good stuff. All that good stuff. Appreciate y'all for joining. Thank you for all the donations. The callers were lit. The chat is always lit. We'll be back here tomorrow. And once again, man, rest in peace to the bad guy, Scott Hall, man. Hey, yo. We out of here. Peace.